Welcome back, True Seeker. Last night we talked about the riddle with the Cincinnati Bengals in back to back weeks defeating the Indianapolis Colts and the Baltimore Ravens with the same score, 34 to 23. It was 34 years ago, 1984, that the Colts left Baltimore for Indianapolis. So these teams have a connection. Another riddle that's become apparent to me is what we talked about on August 26, 2018, the shooting in Jacksonville at the Madden video game tournament. They said the shooter was a former Madden tournament champion, and his name was David Katz, and he was 24 years old. And we've been talking about how this year the Jaguars in Jacksonville, Jaguars Cats, and the Panthers Cats are both going to be 24 years old. They're franchises. The other thing about David Katz is he was from Baltimore, Maryland. Like how the Colts are originally from Baltimore, Maryland, how the Ravens are currently from Baltimore, Maryland, and now the Bengals, a Cat team, have beat those two teams with the same score in consecutive weeks. So I wanted to go back and look more at the Cat teams so far in the NFL. We have the Bengals, who are now 2-0, the Jaguars, who are 1-0, the Panthers, who are 1-0, and the Lions, who lost in prime time to the Jets, the only Cat team to lose. So far, Cat teams are 4-1. And again, here's the Bengals score against the Colts week 1 and against the Ravens week 2. They won on the road, they won at home. Both scores 34-23. Very clear riddle. More evidence of how sports are a perfect script. I also want to mention that week 1 of Thursday Night Football, we knew the Eagles were going to take that game. It was a very clear riddle with the flag. Before the season began, I was talking about how the shooting in Jacksonville and the story of the Jaguar killing the zoo animals in New Orleans, how those stories were interconnected, and they were a tribute to the Battle of New Orleans that ended the War of 1812, where the national anthem came out of. And that battle was led by Andrew Jackson, which Jacksonville is named after. So we were talking about, the War of 1812, and then the opening Thursday Night Football game had the score of 18-12. The War of 1812, the national anthem. And then the next Thursday Night Football features a team from Baltimore where Francis Scott Key penned the national anthem. The end of the War 1812, or during it, in Maryland, he wrote the national anthem. So from week 1 Thursday Night Football to week 2, we're seeing a riddle here. It's going to become more clear week by week. Now, next week in week 3, I wanted to see who the Bengals play, and they play the Panthers. 2 Cat teams. What do you know? Remember what's special about that date, September 23rd. That's the day leaving 99 days left in the year. And this is the 99th NFL season. Come back to that. So let's look at the Jaguars, another Cat team. They opened their season by beating the Giants, as we thought they would. Their next game's against the Patriots, who they lost to in the AFC Championship. And what do you think of when you think of Giants and Patriots? Do you think of Super Bowl 42 and 46? Do you think of the only team to beat Tom Brady until the Eagles did it last year in the Super Bowl? This is not arbitrary that these teams, or that the Jaguars are opening against the Giants and the Patriots. Again, in the Madden simulation this year, they picked Jacksonville to win the Super Bowl. Last year in the Madden simulation, for the AFC Championship, they had the Patriots beating Jacksonville, which is exactly what happened. So something we need to keep an eye on. Jaguars opening against Giants and Patriots. And with regards to David Katz, the shooter in Jacksonville, don't forget he was wearing a Buffalo Bills jersey the year he won it. This is the shot from the year he won it in 2017. Buffalo Bills backdrop there too. Buffalo's in New York, like how Jacksonville opened up against a New York team in New York. And the Bills are also in the same division as the Patriots. So another little riddle there. As for the Panthers, Cam Newton got his 66th career win last week to open up against the Cowboys. Number of the Beast equals 66. The Black Panther movie released February 16th. Black Panther equals 666. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Like February 16th is 2/16. That's all so the 47th day of the calendar year, February 16th, the word beast equals 47. This weekend, Ron Rivera can potentially improve his record to 66 wins and 47 losses against the Falcons. You know, when I did my picks for that game, I showed how more lines up for the Falcons to win, but then again, more lined up for the Ravens to beat the Bengals last night in Thursday Night Football by a significant margin, but the Bengals still won. And consider the Bengals game yesterday was on a date with 24 numerology. The word cat equals 24, Bengals equals 24, Lions also equals 24. Panthers and Jaguars don't, but Bengals and Lions both sum to 24 like cat, like the 24-year-old David Katz shooter. But what I'm saying is there might be a riddle that's bigger right now and more important in the scripting of these games than just how it lines up with the players and the coaches. So, you know, if I was a gambler, I might lay off on these cat games and watch how this is playing out. See if we can figure out a definitive pattern, and then perhaps the rest of the season will be easy to project with what's going on with the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Panthers, the Lions. You know, the Lions were the only cat team again to lose in week 1. Sam Darnold took it on Monday Night Football. Sam 48, MNF 48, New York Jets 48. What else am I forgetting? Joe Namath 48. You know, Joe Namath was known for throwing the pick sixes. Sam Darnold's career began with a pick six by the numbers. The name Darnold equals 68. Joe Namath won the Super Bowl for the Jets in 68. Sam Darnold was the youngest starter in 68 years. The Lions came into the game with no 100-yard rushers for 68 consecutive games. They now have a streak of 69. And by the way, Lions equals 69. So we'll see if that streak ends at 69. I suspect if the streak's to end and they're going to have a 100-yard rusher this week, it's going to be number 33, the player out of Auburn, another cat team, the Tigers. So anyway, the Lions played the Jets and then they played the 49ers. And I said, is there a riddle here with this? And I had to think about it a little bit, and call me crazy, but here's what I'm seeing. If you watched my video on Monday Night Football, it was a big ritual with September 11th. The games ended this past Monday night, the doubleheader, in the early hours of September 11th on the East Coast. And if you added up the points of both games, the total scores from all four teams, it was 111 points. Like how September 11th leaves 111 days left in the year, like how New York equals 111. Think about the teams that played that night. The Jets, which are connected to the Patriots riddle. It was a New York Jet that sacked number 11 Drew Bledsoe that gave rise to Tom Brady. In the other game, it was the Rams and Raiders. It was the Raiders and the Patriots and the Tuck rule that allowed the Patriots to advance in the playoffs and make it to the Super Bowl. And in that Super Bowl, they faced the Rams, who Tom Brady got his first career Super Bowl against. I don't know how the Lions necessarily fit in here. There must be some symbolism I'm overlooking. But with regards to the Lions playing the Jets, which have to do with the 9/11 riddle, and then playing the 49ers, remember, Tisha B'Av, the Jewish day to remember the destruction of the two temples, equals 9/11. And this year at September 11th, there's a story circulating about how there's this cow prophecy in Israel that foreshadows the third temple coming. The third temple is connected to the destruction of the two temples. Tisha B'Av, 9/11, the destruction of the two towers on 9/11. Well, when the third temple comes in the Jewish prophecy, the Jewish Messiah is supposed to arrive through the Golden Gate. And, you know, San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. This is all I can think of. And I know there's some biblical symbolism to the lion. I got to go back and do my homework on this piece. It's got to be something like this. Because why else would they script all these things and have these riddles and, have the Lions, and consider the Lions also have the former assistant coach of the Patriots, Matt Patricia, this year. Tom Brady's from the Bay Area. He grew up idolizing Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers. So we're going to watch and see how this all plays out. For the Week 3 games, the Jaguars play the Titans, who used to be from Houston, kind of like how the Patriots opened their season against Houston. Week 2, the Titans and Houston play each other, the battle of the Houston teams, if you will. Panthers and Bengals, Katz in Week 3, and Lions and Patriots. If Tom Brady beats the Jaguars this weekend and beats the Lions next week, again, he's going to pick up his 199th regular season win in Michigan. He was once the 199th pick out of Michigan by the Patriots. 199 is the 46th prime. Michigan equals 46. Tom Brady 46. Patriots 46. So we'll see. We're watching, but there is most definitely a major cat riddle in play. We knew that this story from the offseason, the shooting at the Madden tournament, was connected to this NFL season. We talked about the day it happened. Now we're seeing how it's really coming together. And we're going to have to watch the Bengals. Bengals got Marvin Lewis, who used to coach for the Ravens. Him and John Harbaugh both have the September 23rd birthday. Both of their birthdays are on Week 3. The day leaving 99 days left in the year. So I'll continue to put out my thoughts as they come to me. If you have anything to add to this riddle, be greatly appreciated. Till next time, Truth Seeker. Encore. Here we go, Truth Seeker. The Lion of Judah is a Jewish national and cultural symbol traditionally regarded as the symbol of the Israelite tribe of Judah. According to the Torah, the tribe consists of the descendants of Judah, the fourth son of Jacob, who became Israel. So, in light of the Jewish symbolism, I also want to remind you, Monday Night Football, when it was September 11th on the East Coast, just a little after 1 in the morning, this was on the screen, front and center, and they kept the camera on this woman for at least 15 seconds, so everybody saw this, the Star of David on her wrist. And remember, 26 is a big number with this NFL season. It's why I expect the Patriots, or at the very least the AFC, to win its 26th Super Bowl this year. The NFL season began September 6th, 2018. That was a date with 26 numerology. Remember, we said that game would be all about 26, and it was. The only touchdown scored by number 26. Nick Foles picked up his 26th win. The Eagles' only other points were a 26-yard field goal. Not only did that date have 26 numerology, 9 plus 6 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 8, but on the Jewish calendar, it was the 26th of Elul. And I started to think about this after I made the video on Monday Night Football, that wrist has Gematria of 26. Remember, it's in Hebrew and in English that the four-letter name of God sums to 26. The word God also sums to 26. It's the Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, that has the core belief that God created the world by merging the number with the letter. The English alphabet is 26 letters. The word letter equals 26. With the alphabetic order, I want to remind you about this happening on September 11th. The wrist with the Star of David. Star of David, 119, like 11/9, like how they write the date September 11th in Israel and the majority of the world. Orthodox, also 119. You see? So, for another one, Ashkenazi Jews, 119. If you watch that Rams game, they had number 77 mic'd up all night. September 11th, 77. World Trade Center, 77. Judaism, 77. Zionist, 77. Israel's the Zionist state. It was Andrew Whitworth mic'd up with the camera on him all night. So we're putting the riddles together here, Truth Seeker. This season, it began during the time of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. It began on the 26th of Elul on the Jewish calendar. Something else that I talked about, Max Kellerman during Rosh Hashanah wished Tom Brady a happy Rosh Hashanah, which I thought was really interesting. And I think I forgot to bookmark this article, but if you look through the video where I talked about that, somebody linked down below this article about Tom Brady's Jewish connections. And I had no idea Tom Brady had any Jewish connections before just earlier this week when Max Kellerman wished him a happy Rosh Hashanah. Max Kellerman, the Jewish man who's on ESPN. He's now part of First Take with Stephen A. Smith. So we're watching. We're figuring it out. Like I've been saying for more than a month. By the end of week 3, we're going to have this solved. And still think that's very, very likely. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.